Hi, my name is Jesselyn Workman, a Liberty Mutual insurance agent, and I'm in the local Fairfax, Virginia office.
So, let me ask you, what is the best advice that you would give someone who is looking to get a life insurance policy as far as what they should be looking for and the amount of coverage they should be seeking?
The number one piece of advice I would give would be to not buy it over the phone. Make sure you meet with an agent and have that conversation of what your needs are. A needs analysis is really important to making sure you're getting the proper amount of coverage and that it's being used for the purposes that you want it to be used for.
What about folks who are looking to get a car insurance policy? And I know there's a lot of misinformation about car insurance. A lot of times people are looking to save a buck or two here or there.
Right.
So what would be the words of wisdom that you would tell folks out there what to look for when obtaining an auto policy?
Number one is making sure you have proper BI limits or bodily injury limits. So when you print out your declarations page, you'll see right at the top a number dash a number. So this could be the state minimums, which are $25.50, or what I see more fit is actually substantially larger in this area, 100-300 or 250-500, which would be $500,000 if you have teenage drivers. And why that's important is because in this area it's very populated, it's dense, the demographic is a certain way that it's very important that you're actually going to be covered in the event that you were to be sued in an auto accident.
What about flood insurance as opposed to homeowners insurance? I know that commonly people get those two confused.
Right.
Can you help us understand what the differences are and why it's important for somebody seeking insurance to know the difference between the two?
Sure. So flood insurance is actually separate from a homeowner's insurance policy. That is purchased through FEMA. We can, of course, help you obtain a flood insurance policy, but it won't be seen on your homeowner's insurance. On the topic of water, though, it is very critical that you have water backup coverage on your home. This is additional coverage, but is necessary because it's the number one claim in Northern Virginia. And the tragedy is paying for insurance and then having that $10,000+ claim and not having your insurance company pay for it. So no matter where you insure yourself, it is very, very important that you make sure that is on there. Maybe $30-40 a year, but worth it.
So you brought up a good point about not buying insurance over the phone. I think in our society, the information age, a lot of people want everything to be easy.
Mm-hmm.
But some conversations about insurance and obtaining policies, it's probably better to do that face-to-face with a reputable, knowledgeable agent.
Yes. It's important to have a policy review. It's important to do that needs analysis. It's important to create a relationship, that there's a comfortable, you can give me a ring if you have any questions, if you want to make changes. There needs to be a relationship there, or else your insurance, will just go up and up every year, and you'll pay for it, and it'll stab you in the heart, or when you make that claim, you won't know what to do. So it's essential in our business model and for myself that I meet all my clients, especially when it comes to life insurance. Yes.
Let's talk about insurance companies in general.
Sure.
A lot of times people focus on the price of a coverage.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they think they're making a good comparative analysis on one company vice another just based on price alone. What are some of the other factors that should come into play when people are considering obtaining an insurance policy?
Right. So I'm glad you brought that up, because very commonly we'll get a phone call and it's asking for an apples to apples comparison. So if they were quoted, 7 years ago, and they weren't given the best policy, not something that would cover them in the event that they would need it, they've been apples to apples recreating that policy for years, and circumstances have also changed. So now you're talking about something that's almost of no use to them. So making sure that instead of just comparing, what do you need, and we're making sure that we fulfill that need, and having that conversation about what it is you're paying for. What can I do with this? When will I need it? Who do I call? If you want to bring in technology, we're all about that. That's great. We have apps for claims, apps for your ID cards. You can e-sign online if you can't make it to the office a particular day. But it's important to meet one-on-one and have that conversation. Over the phone, in 15 minutes might just not do it. Yeah.
Let's talk about renter's insurance. I know often when people go to rent properties, the landlord will request that you have a renter's insurance policy, and a lot of people will look at it just as another expense.
Right.
Tell us why you think renter's insurance is important, and kind of share with us that it's really not that expensive in the bigger picture.
Right. So you hit on a key talking point, which is renter's insurance quite often is under $100 a year. So if you can even go and pay that monthly, it's not going to be a huge expense to you. More importantly, your personal belongings are being covered by this policy. So your landlord will have a master policy that covers the dwelling itself, the structure, the sticks and bricks, and then you're held responsible for your clothing, your Xbox One, your TV, your furniture. So in the event that something would happen, heaven forbid, you have that backup. And for $100 a year, to make sure that your livelihood won't be changed by an unforeseen event is huge.
So you're buying that peace of mind for, less than a few dollars per month, basically.
I sold one yesterday for $92 for the year, with $100,000 worth of liability on there too. So if they were to get sued after a party, they have that too. Yeah. So I mean, it's very inexpensive. Yeah.
What's some of the other insurance products out there that people may not think about, but maybe it's something down the road or even now that they could at least, have a conversation with an insurance agent about? I know we always talk about home, life, and auto, but are there other products out there that people can think about as well?
Absolutely. One that's kind of out of fashion now, but something to think about is annuities.
Okay.
So that's a big one that we work with here. If you have a savings, it's very important that it's somewhere that's accessible and that it's growing. We have guaranteed interest rates.
Okay.
It's a safe place to hide tax deferred growth.
Okay.
So that's key. We have certain products that you can even buy a life policy that kind of works as an annuity. You can build cash value. So it's also a financial planning tactic to speak with an insurance agent. Transferring your 401k from a previous job or something like that. So that is it's a product that you don't hear a lot about now. And that's not a sales pitch conversation. That's not something I would know that someone would need. But if you are planning for your, retirement, you have a big life change, and you have something you want tax deferred growth, then you probably want to talk to your insurance agent about that.
So as an insurance agent, what's the best piece of general guidance that you could give someone overall just about insurance in general?
The biggest piece of advice I think would definitely have to be that the decisions you make with insurance early on will affect you in the future. So having those state minimums, having the cheapest policy you can get that doesn't really cover your behind in the end is only going to hurt you in the future when you have a family or you purchase a home. That's your credit score for insurance. So knowing that you start out at a reasonable for your demographic, not too expensive, you don't need $500,000, but at the same point making sure that you're actually properly covered, you're considered a good insurance risk, and therefore your insurance in the future at any company will be less expensive.
Oh, great. That's a great piece of advice. Well, hey, we can wrap up. Thank you for being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
So in closing, if I could